morning, Gil. Good morning, Sprinheads. Good morning. Just getting going here on another Saturday morning of the Ugly Mugs. The Ugly Mugs. What do I have for you this morning? Not much. Still cold down here. It is going to get colder. Oh, my son turned 13 years old yesterday. That was interesting. I have a teenager now. A new species. I've got 7 years of dealing with that. If any of you out there have teenagers, please let me know. Give me some advice. Because it's a real and imminent threat. Oh, it's pretty good. Yesterday we went for a long nature walk. I don't know if people his age, his kids, his friends, they didn't want to do a party. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know. Didn't want to do a party. Or they don't do parties. I don't know if that's a thing anywhere near you guys, but I remember doing parties at that age, 13. But that's okay. So his big deal is he is obsessed with everything Japanese. So we had sushi. We had a wonderful Japanese meal. And he had a cake from a local bakery, which was pretty great. And what else did we do? We went for a nature walk. That was great. Actually, I think Daddy forced him to go on the nature walk, but that's okay. Did that. That's my big news update. I have a teenager. Oh, and the gift that he had, the joke gift was we got him a sequenced, sequenced pillow of Nicolas Cage. Yeah. So that's in my house somewhere now. Because that makes sense. I guess it makes sense. Nicolas Cage. I've got other actors on my wall behind me. I can see Tom Cruise. I don't know if maybe he should be in the shot. Daniel Radcliffe is right there. Daniel. Is Daniel really good in other movies? Is he good in other things? He must be good. I saw The Woman in Black. Yikes. Scary. I don't like this like old kind of dead woman thing. Ooh, that's freaky. Good, but freaky. And who is that? Mia Sara beside Tom. Legend. Have you ever seen Legend? Fantasy 80s film. One of my faves. Jonathan. Yeah. I can feel the cold coming. I can feel it. I can feel it. Hello, I am well.
Are you well?
Meh.
Well.
I'm well.
I'm meh. Well.
I'm well done. A little overcooked.
Are you?
Yeah.
Do you know the trick? Do you know the trick of the hand for cooking steak so that you're
not
well done?
Thought you. That's not the gesture.
Oh,
I thought you were doing.
Hey, do you know that trick to make yourself not well done?
You know, actually, I do know that trick or this thing about the flesh and the well doneness part of it, but I thought about it and I just quickly went, forget it. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
No.
Mm.
So I don't do that. Now my wife and I are back to not eating meat. So
Really?
yep,
As of when?
back to it. Um, I guess we've been about 2 weeks now again. We've been on and off for years and years. So,
Right.
you know,
Did you guys go to a petting zoo again? And we're just like, oh,
no, like we just oscillate, between with this whole thing. It's it's a tricky thing. Yeah, we just we'll do it for a while, and then one of us or situations will come up where it's just, oh, I want this, or I'll have this, and
right.
then meat gets introduced back into the diet. My son is a carnivore through and through, so it's he but he doesn't recently I've made some changes to some of the dishes that we make, and I did it just vegetables, and he loved it. So
Yeah, there you go.
there you go. Right?
Yeah. He's a veggie head now.
He's a veg. He's
He's
a
a he,
veg.
he's a veg. He's a
He's a
veg head.
he's a Vegemite. He likes
Yeah.
the Vegemite.
Eee.
What? What? What's wrong?
I don't know. I've
Veg
never had it. I've heard bad things.
Vegemite, and you don't like Marmite? Little Marmite?
Nisala could probably tell us a little bit about that. She's from Australia. Apparently, they love it down there.
Dude.
So, welcome to the show. Welcome to Ugly Mugs. This is episode
Mm,
4 of season 2. Cheers, Jack, for the first sip of coffee of the day.
yes, in fact, but my coffee has turned to tea.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. I'm having a cup of tea in the morning.
Are you trying to be more refined or?
No, no. Refined. Me? No.
Hmm. Oh, all right. Well, a nice mug, by the way. I love your
This is an
invincible
Incredibles. Yeah,
Incredibles.
yeah, it's an Incredibles mug today.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, my son likes that film.
Yeah, I like both
Likes
of
that
them.
movie.
The second one's really good too.
It is. Yeah, Pixar, they have a future.
Yeah, they have a future. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
They've done, a couple of good projects. Yeah, we'll
Have
see
you
where it goes.
you watched the Soul, right? You saw Soul?
Oh, Soul is amazing.
Yeah, it was really good, eh?
Dude, so good.
It was
Like,
like it was like an acid trip or something. Like some of those scenes are
yeah,
like,
I just it never it never ceases to amaze me what they can accomplish with animation too. Like,
yeah.
just crazy. It was
Hmm.
great story. I loved it, and of course, very very heartwarming, and
Hmm.
yeah,
It's cute.
I know I'm a sucker for those things, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
me too. I'm on an anime kick right now. I've been watching a bunch of anime
Tell me
on
more about this anime. Like, I didn't know you were watching a bunch of it.
well, Netflix has tons of it. Like it's got like, I'm mostly familiar with like older, like late early 90s anime movies, like, Ninja Scroll and
Yeah, that's what I
Fist of the
grew up.
North
Yeah,
Star and Akira and like,
yeah,
I
Ghost
of
in the
course I know some
Shell.
of the, yeah, exactly. And then of course I know a bunch of the Studio Ghibli stuff because the kids love the Studio Ghibli stuff, but I've never really delved into this like serialized anime. I started Attack on Titan a while back, and then found myself not able to watch it because it didn't have English dubbing. And I don't mind
Okay.
reading subtitles. I actually really love subtitles
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
show,
me too.
but it's not conducive to doing other things. So if I'm doing dishes and I have it on, or I'm doing laundry and I have it on, or I'm doing whatever,
Right.
I can't really I can't read the stuff on the screen. So I found it really hard to continue. But I listened to a podcast called The Ringerverse, and one of the guys on the Ringerverse said, you should all watch Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's on Netflix. I was like, oh, okay, I'll watch that. If they're all gonna watch it and maybe talk about it someday, I'll watch that. And I just finished the first season or the season of it, and it's fucked up. I don't even know why I went down this road. It's a really messed up TV show.
it's a really messed up TV show, or it's a
Yeah,
really messed up idea for a TV show.
it's all of it, all of the above. So yeah, they came out with a movie that sort of explains how it end.
Yeah,
Jason,
yeah.
our friend Jason, messaged me saying the movie doesn't really give that much explanation, so don't expect to be, like relieved or not confused at the end. So I don't know.
Hmm.
But I've been enjoying just the,
So your plug for this product for this TV show is that it's really weird. Maybe it's horrible.
maybe it's good,
Uh, yeah. And why did I
maybe,
watch this? Like you might finish the
yeah,
series going, why did I watch this?
yeah,
That's your
yeah.
plug? Okay.
But I'll say this. I'll say this.
I might.
In watching it, my interest in other anime has heightened.
Oh,
So
oh,
I've
oh.
already saved a bunch of other shows that I plan on watching.
Uh-huh.
Because I do like the style, and I do like the medium of anime. Like I
Yeah,
like what they
yeah.
can do, and
Me too.
I kind of like how it's a little bit silly at times, and like
Yeah, I love
you know
it. I
you
should
know.
probably watch a lot more of the lighthearted kind of fare, but
hmm.
I haven't been lately. I've been just struggling to catch up with all these different series that are going on. And
Like what? What are you watching right now?
well, I'm still trying to plow through Lucifer. So I'm trying to finish
Hmm.
that. I've
Right.
had like 3 or 4 different kind of fantasy historical drama sort of series that I just hadn't finished, and I was like, oh, like, when am I going to do all these things?
Ugh.
Like the Last Kingdom and all, and
I've never seen, yeah, I've never seen either of those actually.
Okay, so I was trying to get through those, but also trying to handle all these new ones, and then I kind of get like overwhelmed by TV right now, and then I just go, you know what? I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna
Right.
read RPG books and whatever.
I'll just do what I always do. Read D&D books.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Have you speaking of fantasy,
Yeah.
did you check out the Wheel of Time trailer?
Oh yeah, I did. I
Mhm.
dude, I don't know.
It's of a
It
particular note for the
it
Stormlight fandom
looks
because of Brandon Sanderson's
I
involvement in Wheel of
know,
Time, right? So
right? So and from the trailer, I gotta
mhm.
say the production looks totally there.
It looks like they put some money into it for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
like
Um,
to convey the magic, to convey the creatures or the like.
yeah,
I don't know anything about the Wheel of Time, nothing.
right, right.
So, um, it's too bad because I know that I probably won't get the opportunity to read the series before I watch the show.
There's no way.
It's
There's no way.
impossible.
It's impossible.
It's 9 books, isn't it? Or how
It's
long is it?
15 books.
15?
Yeah, and they're all the size of Way of Kings.
Gosh, yeah, no,
So
that's impossible for me.
yeah, it's impossible. I mean, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to eventually read them.
No, but
But you have already a very large fantasy epic task in front of you
yes,
with
I do.
Stormlight Archive. So I mean, I don't even
Yeah,
know. I would love to reread the Wheel of Time, but I think I've said it before. I
right.
just can't. I can't reread it now. I've already completed it. I
Yeah.
don't think I'll ever go back and reread that series. Like you know, when I first started getting into it, the first 5 books of the Wheel of Time were out. So I think it was like um, Lord of Chaos either had just
Mm,
come out, which is book 6, or it was about to come out. And so I had read all 5 books. Then that book had come out,
right.
whichever book it was, 5 or 6. That book came out, and I read it. And then like 2 years went by before the next book came out, or however long it was. And when we started getting inklings of that new book coming out, I went back and reread all 5 or 6 books that were before it. And then I did that for subsequent books. So I've already reread that series
Right, a bunch.
multiple times. Yeah. So I can't see myself wanting to go back and reread it. I just, it's just
Mhm.
too much. It's just
Too much.
a lot of information. And yeah, I do love it. A couple of quick notes on the trailer from myself. I don't mind the remix. They're doing kind of a remix
What's the remix?
where some of the characters that we've seen in the trailer don't appear
Yes.
until book 2. So that means they're in season 1.
Right.
So that means season 1 is going to be partly book 1, partly book 2,
Right.
kind of remixed in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Rafe Judkins, the showrunner, has said that some of the stuff that's in book 1 is being left out of season 1 and put later on in the series. So, from my understanding,
Part of the
they're
season, part of the events in book 1 is being
book
left
1
out.
left out and saved for later on in down the line. From my understanding, is the idea is to adapt the entire series as a whole,
Right.
not book by book and season by season, because there's just so
Right.
much that happens that
Does the series, in a similar way to the Stormlight Archives, does it piece together and go back in time and show
it does
different?
not. It does not.
It's linear.
It's very linear. Yeah, very, very much so.
Whoa, that's surprising.
Yeah. So it starts though there is the first book starts, and then from then on the characters move forward towards their inevitable end of the series. There are moments where the characters will take means of travel that will make them, like if they're traveling from one point to one point, a trip that happens instantaneously for them.
Yes.
The rest of the world around them has moved on for 3 months, and it took them 3 months time to travel. So there are moments like that.
You know what I'm just thinking is that it's that if it's linear, it's like Double Dragon.
It really is.
Wheel of Time, Double Dragon.
Yeah, Wheel of Dragons. Well, you know what's funny is Double Dragon. That's actually a really funny comment, because in the Wheel of Time, one of the main characters ends up getting emblazoned on his arms, golden dragons on both arms.
There you go. Double. See, I told you, Double Dragon.
Yeah, it's pretty funny that you mentioned Double Dragon. The remix is happening, which I'm not too
well. And I want to say one other thing. If there's one thing, with making these decisions about, including bits from book 1 of Wheel of Time and doing it later, and there's one thing that we can all have faith in is these executives when they get a hold of intellectual property, because they make really, really good decisions all the time. Right?
I almost spit my coffee at my computer screen.
I mean, the executives of the world out there, if you're listening, congratulations. I mean, you're all of your decisions are
right. They're all perfect.
They're all perfect, and they work out so well, and they're very inclusive of the fandom. And
we're not talking about anything specific here. Absolutely not. Just very broad. We're painting very broadly with our paintbrushes. The only other thing I would say about this trailer is the magic system has me a little bit worried. Here, hold on.
The magic system has you worried.
The Wheel of Time has a very, much like Brandon Sanderson himself, the Wheel of Time has a very specific and interesting magic system, where there are, I believe it's been a long time, there are 5 like key elements. And when you cast a spell, when you cast a weave, as they say in the book, series of books, you draw threads of these 5 different elements and weave it into a spell. So you would take a thread of fire, a thread of water, a thread of spirit, and then you would make a fireball, right?
Right. It's not just one thing. It's got
right. Or it would be like, I guess in this case, a fireball would be a thread of fire, a thread of air, because you need air to you need air to make fire, and then you take earth or whatever.
And that's why you didn't have someone like me writing that series, because I would have had them knit their spells. Like everyone would be like knitting their magic.
They kind of do that, but they do it with like almost invisible.
No, but I would actually have them
air
knitting. Everyone sits down.
Every character has a scarf. Like, oh, is that a fireball scarf?
Yeah. Gee, that's my favorite gift. I'm glad you made this for me.
It's like the guy that walks around downtown Ottawa with a knitting set, and he knits slippers for people, and he's got like he's got a backpack full of slippers.
There is a slipper knitting fellow in Ottawa that knits people's slippers.
You know the slippers that your grandmother used to have.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, Yeah, he's got a backpack full of them, and
What?
he's knitting them as he goes along. Slippers, gotcha, slippers. Yeah, he doesn't talk like that, but
Is
it's pretty
that?
close.
You sure that's not Sean Roski?
That would be amazing if it was. You know what? Sean Roski actually watches this on YouTube, so you better make sure you're making a
Sean, are
joke.
you knitting slippers? Are you
No,
knitting
you,
slippers?
you know what Sean Roski's doing? Sean Roski is knitting award-winning RPGs. That's what that guy's doing.
That's what he's doing. That's
Yeah,
right.
come on. Let's give the guy some props. Um,
Sean, if you're watching, it's been far too long. How you doing, buddy?
so yeah, we let's talk about the show. So
Yes.
we had a really great show this week. Hold on here. Let me just minimize you a little bit.
Oh, really? Well,
We had the numbers were great this week. It was really pleased. We are collecting more Spren heads every week. We're like Axes the Collector. We're just collecting Spren heads into our little fold, and we thank everyone so much for listening and enjoying what we're doing. This week we had 1,500 total downloads, which is great. 1,500 like total downloads. That's not just for one episode. That's obviously spread up amongst all of our episodes. So
right.
but like in the last 30 days we had nearly 6,000 downloads. That's great. That's like
Is that
amazing.
good? That's good.
I think so. I'm not
I
sure.
like it. I don't know.
It's a
I just
nice number.
I just think it's cool that there's all this community
There's
for
people that are
the
people that are
Stormlight.
listening.
Yeah.
The number that I wanted to mention the most though is that the podcast providers or Buzzsprout that we have, they do this podcast predictor thing, this listener predictor thing, where they kind of try
Yeah.
to predict how many people are listening to your show.
Right.
Because not everyone is listening all at once. Some people are picking it up new this week and just found out about us. Some people who listened to a month ago have a backlog of episodes they haven't listened to yet, but they plan on listening to, and they can kind of predict that. We have about 750 people that are listening on the regular right now, which is really amazing. Like that's when we first started this, like our old episodes were getting like 30 people, and I mean we were super happy that those 30 people were listening.
Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah, we it's really great, and it's all around the world too. Like we have people in South Africa and Morocco and Asia, and
oh my gosh,
it's just everywhere,
incredible.
man. It's really awesome. Yeah,
That's
it's really awesome.
Cool.
I saw that Joe, is that Buzzkill Joe that's just trying to sign on there?
I'm not sure if it's Buzzkill or if it's Joe. It says connecting to audio. Let me see if I can facilitate here.
You can leave him muted for now until we finish our little.
I don't think he is muted. I think he's.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. Even if it's not. Yeah, he should be able to join in if he likes. But
hello, Joe.
We do have Joe with us.
We have Joe. We have
good.
a Joe. G.I. Joe. So yeah, we just recorded episode 14 yesterday. Or not yesterday, but 2 days ago. Jack and I had a little bit of a technical difficulties where
we did.
I couldn't sign on to anything on my laptop. So it took
don't you love that? Don't you love when you're ready to do a show and
you're all hyped up, and then it takes
all
you an
hyped
hour
up, and then and then you can't use the technology because you can't use it.
Yeah, that's what that's the problem with us doing this on our own, right? Like if we were a big show and we had like a company or whatever, people, like we'd have people that take care of that. You know what I mean? Like we'd have producers, and we would literally just have to sit down in the chair and
yeah. I'm sure that Dak Shepard doesn't exactly go through.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he does the. No, that Monica does that.
Yeah, Monica takes care of everything.
She does.
I bet.
It's her show. It's her
no
show,
offense, Dax, but you're the fella.
As much. Yeah, he's as much.
You're the overalls. He's the overalls.
Yeah. So yeah, we recorded episode 14 this week, which was 3 chapters, which were 3 small chapters, and it was a trio of Shallan.
I really like that.
Really cool.
Yeah, I really like the hat trick on that. The triple Shallan feature, that was great.
Yeah. So this is the series of chapters where we have a flashback. We meet Helloran, the shard-bearing older brother.
Yeah.
she and then Shallan takes control of the deserters that are chasing them in the Frostlands.
Didn't you just love that?
It's amazing, dude.
It's
What a great part.
so great.
Yeah, and
What
so I
she
wanted to
does
ask
with
you,
confidence, and yeah, go ahead, ask me.
yeah, one of the things that we didn't really get to dwell on too much in the episode, but I wanted to ask you right now is, what do you think about Gaz being back in the story?
I think it's great. I hope that we see more of him, and I hope
Mhm.
that perchance there's something else to him. We'll
Yeah,
see, right?
I think that it's awesome that he's the one who says, I would love some redemption. I'd love to start over. And you kind of got that feeling from him with his time in Bridge 4, that he was very reluctant to do a lot of the stuff he did. He I think he
Yeah.
regretted it, and then he deserted. So when we were like, where did Gaz go?
Where did Gaz go?
This is where he ended up.
Oh, it's cool that he's back in it. I think that's great. I like that he more than the others wanted a second chance at
Yeah.
something else.
I think that if he hadn't said, screw it, I'm going, some of the others might not have actually gone, right? Someone needed to be the first, right?
Right.
This is another theme that we've talked about. Someone has to start it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Remember when
Yeah, exactly.
Cal goes back for Dalinar, someone
Yeah.
has to be the one to start it. And
Yeah.
a little, actually, I'm thinking about it now. In a way, Gaz does the thing that Kaladin did at the end of Way of Kings. Gaz is the one who
Yes, in terms of
decides to
yeah,
go and save those people. It's not
right.
the same grandeur as the fight on the tower, and there's no powers
Would
involved and all
Gaz
that stuff. But
at that point in the story, would he have known about the finality of the battle with
no, I don't
the
think so.
betrayal? He wouldn't have
He
known, would he?
Yeah, he's gone. I think he takes, in Way of Kings, he takes off.
Mm.
He disappears from our viewpoint and our perspective, um, after the side carry.
After the side carry. That's correct. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he disappears because then Kaladin is actually worried about it and is asking the High Lady, whatever her face is, like, where's Gaz? And she's like, he's been dealt with.
Hi lady,
But
whatever your face.
well,
Proper titles.
if I was covering the series, I probably would know the. Oh wait, no, never mind. So the other thing here
Joe,
that
if
we
you can hear
have,
us, welcome. I don't know if you can hear us.
yeah,
And
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can
yes,
hear you.
hello,
All right. I'm
hello,
trying to figure
sir.
out where you guys are at in your conversation since I joined so late and then had trouble joining.
Oh,
We
no.
we are just talking about what we recorded this week. We
Right.
recorded 3 Shallan chapters, which were all very small. 19, 20, 21.
Yep.
We had just said that the 19 was the flashback where we get to meet Helleran, find out that her older brother is a shard bearer.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the next 2 subsequent chapters were Shallan taking over the group of deserters and making them, and like kind of inspiring them to go and help the caravan workers that are there, Macabre and Tin. And then the 3rd chapter is the revelation that Bluth dies, and we were pretty sad about it, eh, Jack? It was
Yeah, it was sudden. I mean, I kind of liked that it was sudden too, in terms of the choice in the writing, like to not deal with it. It was just kind of abrupt. I thought that was a good choice on Mr. Sanderson's part. But it was also kind of neat to see him, like he's on the wagon. He's actually cheering them on as the deserters make their decision to, I guess, disobey or to not go with what.
right.
What was that character's name who was leading?
Vatha.
Vatha. Yeah. So when they came over the side of the hill, there's Bluth, and he's cheering them on. He's excited, and then in the next chapter, he's now dead.
Right.
So it was abrupt, but I thought it was kind of fitting. And then of course, she got to kind of ruminate on that a little bit, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like I mean, I've read the series multiple times. I think everyone knows that. But I think at this time, I think I forgot that Bluth dies here. I think I forgot that he doesn't just get amalgamated into the group of deserters, the group of soldiers for Shallan.
Right.
Like, I think in my mind, as I was reading it and I was like being reintroduced to this character again and looking at him critically, I think my mind, I think I like tricked myself into believing that, oh, Bluth just ends up together with Vatha and Gaz and those guys whenever she inspires them. And I didn't remember that he died. And then when he did, when I read it, I went, oh yeah, right. I forgot how much I liked this character because he's just at the beginning of this redemptive story, right? He's just starting his journey, right?
He's got her picture, right? Like that's
right.
the whole purpose of that part, is that she drew a picture of him as he might have been, or maybe should have been,
or was at the end. He was that person at the end.
Yeah, I suppose we don't know his whole back story too as well, right? So,
but I guess what I'm saying is that by the end, when he dies on that hill, he is that guy in that picture, right?
Yeah.
He might not have the sword and the nice armor. He's got his cudgel and his too fine hat, but he's got still
the too fine hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. The too fine hat. I could use a too fine hat.
Any Joe, any thoughts on what we just talked about?
Oh yeah, I definitely actually had to get on the wiki here and make sure I wasn't spoiling anything, because I didn't know when she saw that he had that picture. And I definitely remember he died because he had it. I thought that was a great moment.
Great moment.
How she inspired him with that, with her artistic ability. Yeah. Even a little bit of manipulation too.
For sure.
Shallan's kind of leaning that way. Yeah, actually looking forward to this episode.
Oh yeah,
good. Yeah,
it's a good one.
It was fun to record all three of those.
You know, one of the reasons why I think we enjoyed it so much, for me anyways, is that because we did 3 chapters and they were all very small. There wasn't this. I find when we do these really large chapters, there is this like weight that is, it's almost like the bridge. There's this weight upon us when we record, because it's like this is so much information. There is such a large chapter that it's like a slog to get through. But whenever these little chapters come up, it's actually kind of nice because it gives us a little bit of room to breathe and to talk more about it and to have a little bit more fun. Where when we have these large chapters, we're like, okay, let's not make too many jokes. We've got a lot of information to get through here. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We consciously try to edit out all of our silly banter and whatnot so that we can actually get to the meat of the.
We also want to try to keep the actual episode for the listener short enough that they're enjoying it. I don't ever want to drop anything over 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want anybody to ever be like, oh my God, a 2.5 hour pod.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't ever want that, you know? So it's nice when we get these like nice little snippets, and that's what the interludes were for before we started getting into these interludes, and Words of Radiance were just friggin' massive interludes.
No, you gave me a bit of a preview to what's to come of a future interlude, I thought, in that it was either really short or non-existent, or...
Oh, no, what I said to you was that...
that was the one previous.
It was the preview. We were talking about the previous ones and how in Way of Kings, all of our interlude episodes were all in one episode. Right. You could smash up all the interludes into one. They were so small. And then this set of interludes that we recorded that are about to air soon here, they were so large that we had to do 2, and then we had to do 2 together. There were 4 interludes. So the first 2 were 1 episode, and the next 2 were each their own episode. So it took us 3 episodes to get through that section of interludes. What I had said to you about the future was that the next set of interludes are all small enough that they're all going to fit on 1 episode, all 4 of them. So it'll be like kind of the episode we recorded today, which is going to be like nice and light. There's not going to be too much information. It'll probably just be some character introductions to these new areas. And yeah.
Wasn't there also a bit of a theme we were picking up on of like things in 3s? Remember that from Way of Kings?
Yeah, there was.
And here we have this triple chapter drop from Shallan, where it's so crazy to go from she's washed up on the shores and finds a trunk, and then to joining a slaver's caravan, and then to have 2 caravans combined, and they're basically hers now. And she also has slaves, and who is she? She's I don't know.
She's nobody, bro. She's not nobody, but
no, she's not nobody. But she's a light eyes in a dress, in a torn dress, washed up with, and You know
I don't
what I
want
mean?
to get too political here, but the fact that she's a light eyes, this is like her
Yeah.
light eyes privilege. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if she was a dark eyes, she would never have been able to pull any of this off.
No, exactly. I know.
You know, it's that saying that like, you know, a white man is never like gonna be arrested for
Right.
smelling like pot way less than a black man would, right? Like
Right.
or on the street. So she would never have been able to pull any of this off if she was a dark
Right.
eyes.
If she was a dark
You know?
eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. This is her light
It's
eyes privilege showing right now.
it's just so weird how something like that can, you know, be used and with skill. Like
Right.
for her to go from, you know, I mean, really, she should have been just captured as a slave and sold
Yeah.
off. I mean, that's by Shalon. That's it.
Well, actually, this actually segues really nicely to what the next thing I want to talk about. So this week's episode that was released was episode 5. This covered chapters 6 and 7, and these were the chapters where Shalon learns more about pattern in the first chapter, and then where Yasna dies in the next one, and then she has to convince the wind's pleasure to sink itself. So first, right off the bat, I want to say that had I been more aware of the placement of these chapters, we would have totally have done a live read for Yasna's death. That would have been, I mean, amazing if we could have
Well,
done
that
it.
would have been really hard for me too. I don't know.
It would have been hard also
I don't
because
know.
the chapter that it happens in is not a small chapter.
No.
So we would have had to have, like you had said before, we would have had to have done a live read up until that moment, stopped the recording, then we would have had to have read the rest of the chapter separately and then come
Right.
back and recorded it. So
Right.
I'm kind of glad we didn't do it, but it also was a missed opportunity. So anyways, to continue on the segue, Werewolf Will on Discord asked, now that you're separated from her death and farther away from the shock of it, do you have a new perspective on things? And I really like the fact that he uses perspective, this word perspective, because this has kind of become a theme for us. Yeah. But do you have a new outlook, a new perspective on her death and what it's meant for Shalon?
So for me, with regards to Yasna's death, what I like that I'm seeing in Shalon, although we're just commenting a moment ago how it's also kind of strange that, you know, privilege can be used to get, you know, whatever you want.
Right.
It's interesting that she's learned from Shalon so many things from when she first arrived in Carbranth. So like,
or from Yasna, you mean?
From Yasna, yeah. Like,
yeah.
So to see Shalon now using those skills and now advancing with her use of Stormlight is fascinating, and it's really, really neat. My only concern is I guess, what would you call it? Like the, I guess the belief or the nervousness around the Parshman, the listeners. I'm kind of concerned with where Shalon is at regarding that.
Right.
I sort of see that I'm picking up on this idea that she's kind of already believing that they're a threat.
Right.
She doesn't want to take the Parshman. I know that Sean was saying, you know, well, she doesn't need them because she's got all these other things in place with regards to these 3 chapters that we just covered. But
the servants, the soldiers.
I'm almost thinking that, you know, when the Parshmen were there and a possibility for her to take, she just said, no, I want nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me is just a little, it's like you're buying propaganda that they're a threat, that all of this entire people, all of these Parshmen, all of these listeners, they're all a potential threat.
Let me ask you a question then. Do you think that she would see them less a threat if Yasna was still around? Would Yasna say,
I don't know.
Let's make sure that we don't jump the gun here yet.
Right.
I think Yasna had already jumped the gun.
I think that Yasna was picking up on that in her studies. Right. And I think that she was trying to get to the bottom of it had she been given the opportunity to continue.
So Yasna has a theory and would have still seen it as a theory, whereas now that she's not here, Shalon has taken that theory and has now made it truth in her heart, is what you're saying.
My worry is that Shalon is not Yasna. Shalon is not as studious as Yasna. Yasna would have, I think, gone to the end to see that discovery of truth or untruth.
So you're saying that that Yasna would have still been skeptical of her own theory, which is
Yes,
what a good
a
scholar would
true
have done.
yes. And I worry that Shallan is just picking up on the more visceral level of the threat, and is in some ways exhibiting some behaviors that might indicate that she already believes it.
Right.
Now, I could be totally wrong. Like future chapters could unfold, and Shallan doesn't exhibit that, and that's fine. But that would be my only concern. I love the fact that Yasna lives through Shallan in so many ways. That's awesome. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
My only concern is that Shallan might show that like some kind of like zealous.
I would say that Shallan hasn't gone fully over to that side, because she still treats the Parshmen in Tavlakov's caravan with respect. She goes up to them and asks them if they have names. She asks them, "Would you be free if you could be?" Like this kind of stuff. So she's not horrified by them. And
no, that's true. That's a good point.
She's not completely there, but
yeah, it's probably me just reading into certain things. It's like I do, silly, and just
it's like this is what we call the Amaram effect. This is what is known as the Amaram effect.
The Amaram effect. It's just me. What so there you go. So Ed, what shocked me about these three little chapters is that I was connecting with Tavlakev.
Yeah, right.
Who comes up with his own little theory, and he's like, blah blah blah. I've got this theory, and I was like, yeah, that's
dude,
me.
That's my favorite part of the episode we just recorded.
That's me.
Let's
I'm
not dwell on it too long.
Stupid things all the time, and none of it's making much sense. Like
this here is not going to make much sense unless when the listener gets to actually listen to the recorded episode. It's my favorite part of the last episode was how Tavlakov was coming up with a theory on what happened, and his theory fell apart as he was saying it, and you're like, this is totally like me.
I connect with this Tavlakov guy. Oh my god.
Oh, that's so funny, dude.
Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed by it, because he is a slaver character, and I was like, oh man, this guy and his theory, that's me.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Joe, do you got any questions for us or anything that you want to add?
It's not related to Stormlight. Is that fine?
No, but
absolutely.
Interject. Yes.
Just because I want to say, I don't know, a month, 5 weeks ago, I did ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
About 80s comedy sequels.
Oh.
And you mentioned you would do some research.
80s comedy sequels.
Yes. Remember this question? This was a brilliant question. Yeah, this was trying to find what's your favorite 80s comedy sequel?
Mainly because comedies.
Yeah,
comedies are comedies are good, right?
Sequels
to comedies. Yes. Good comedies are good.
Comedies are good. Yes.
Yes, they are. Good comedy sequel is hard to find.
Yeah,
it really is, because you can't say Ghostbusters 2 not on your life. You can't.
Which is still it's okay.
I still like it. I enjoy much of it. I enjoy
Ghostbusters 1 is a masterpiece.
Yes.
The quality fall off is a cliff.
Which is the film where Bill Murray taps on the piano keys in the room, and he's like, they hate this. Was that Ghostbusters?
That's the first one.
Yeah.
That's the first one.
That moment for me, that's it.
That's the first one. Yeah.
That's it for me. When he taps the keys, I'm done. That's like,
yeah, Bill Murray is, there's that line in Zombieland that Emma Stone says, he just gets me. Like Bill Murray just gets my comedy soul. Like that's how I feel too.
Yeah,
he just gets me, man. He's just too funny.
Well, that's why I try to start the morning with these ugly mugs. I say, "Good morning, Gil," because that's a little line from What About Bob.
Yeah,
I know it now. I'm in the 90s. I think I'm in the early 90s with What About Bob. So
yes, you are. Yeah,
doesn't qualify.
Groundhog Day is literally my favorite movie of all time,
dude.
I will watch that over and over and over again.
You know what, though? It breaks my heart, because that's where Harold and Bill had a little bit of a row. They had a fight.
Really? Did they?
They
over
did.
That movie?
Yes. And
I didn't know this.
Yes. And that resulted in the two of them hardly speaking for the next 10 years, which really put the death nail in a possible Ghostbusters 3.
Huh. I wonder.
So-
I will have to. We'll have
Yeah,
to research that.
yeah. Anyway, so going back to the fascinating question of what's your favorite 80s comedy sequel? Wow.
Can I
Like-
can I throw one out quickly?
Yeah,
What about what about Hot Shots Part 2?
Oh, good Lord.
Is that the plane
No,
one?
I
The
can't.
Charlie Sheen. That's the
Charlie.
Charlie Sheen.
I don't think I was a fan of that material.
It's like a Top Gun style parody. I don't know. I liked them back in
Top
the
Gun
day.
or Naked Gun?
No, not Naked Gun. These were Hot Shot was.
Oh, okay, yes.
Hot Shots were Top Gun parodies, and Part 2 was the sequel.
I have never seen Top Gun. I still have to see it.
Oh my god, dude! As if.
I know,
That's-
dude. I know.
That's ridiculous. We'll have to do that at the cottage weekend.
Well, there were two 80s films that I'd never seen, and finally I saw one of them. I saw Dirty Dancing maybe last year or something, and
I love it.
Oh, I hated it.
Really?
I
what's
really-
bad? You know what's wrong is that you
I
watched
couldn't-
it in your later years. You
I
didn't
couldn't-
watch it when you were 12 or 10.
I couldn't connect with it at all. I didn't. The characters, I thought, like, what? Like, who am I supposed to enjoy here? I couldn't connect to it.
I might be
I'm going to start getting hate
exposing
mail now.
myself here. I'm going to be exposing myself here, but I could probably sing every note on the soundtrack.
I know the soundtrack off by heart. My sister had it, played it.
Right.
I know every song, love it, and even the dancing between them, great. I can. That's all amazing. It's everything else, like the
Let's do
setup
that.
and the characters, and I'm like, what? Like, I didn't even understand it.
Swayze's the man.
I know he's the man, but he's also the man in a bunch of other films.
Okay, we're derailing here. This isn't
Yeah,
even
we're
a comedy.
derailing.
We're not even.
Yeah,
we're not
okay.
even talking about. Okay.
Okay, well, what about well,
I
I
do
was
have to add that Hot Shots 2 is disqualified because it's from 1993. So
Aha.
good effort.
Aha.
Oh my god.
We have a
Okay,
producer
well.
in the house. This is good.
Yes, please.
Um,
Yes.
If I had
Joe-
to hazard a guess, I mean, comedy, does Back to the Future count as a comedy?
It's pretty funny. But
I
not,
think it does.
Not
I
on
think
purpose, though.
I think it's a comedy.
Isn't it more of a dramedy? Does that count?
It might be a little bit of that, but I mean, the sequel number 2 wasn't brilliant. The problem with this question, it's a great question, but the problem with it is that if I say like Meatballs 2 or Naked Gun, like Naked Gun,
Meatballs too.
but you know what I mean, like picking a sequel like Police Academy 2, Meatballs 2, Porky's 2, like any of these silly things.
I don't even know if
like-
you're allowed to. I don't even know now if you're allowed to say Porky's even in any conversation.
No, man, it's all
It's been
canceled.
superly disgraced. It's just
done. You can't do
You
a
know what?
film like that.
There's absolutely ample reason why though. It's not.
of course.
It's not a good
Of
movie.
course.
Though we loved it when we were kids.
Well, I can't even remember those. Like I can't remember.
It's just a
Revenge
bunch
of
of
the
peeping.
Nerds. Revenge of the Nerds 2. I
There we
can't
go.
remember. I
That's
can't
a good one.
remember it. I can't remember.
Revenge
it.
of the Nerds 2 is
Maybe it's
awesome.
better. I see. I can't remember.
I don't even know if it's awesome, to be honest. Yeah, you're right. I don't even know if it's awesome.
So I think I have to stand by what I know, and the sequels that I remember Back to the Future 2. Although, does that cross the 90s? Was that a 90 film or 89?
Which one?
Back to the Future 2.
It's 89.
Oh, it's 89. Yeah.
It makes it into the 80s. Okay, so I might have to select Back to the Future 2, although I do stand with Crispin Glover on the debacle that took place with regards to a little bit of money.
You know, I think
or
this is a
something.
really tricky question because there are not that many 80 comedy sequels to choose from. It's not like
Well,
the question is what's your favorite 80s comedy? There are very
80s
few
comedy sequel.
Yeah, there are very few of them, right? Like
Well, again, you're kind of stuck choosing amongst series that have largely either been dismissed or canceled. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like the only right answer to this is Ghostbusters 2, even though Ghostbusters 2 isn't nearly as good as number 1. It might be the only proper answer.
but didn't Ghostbusters 2 89 as well? That was the year of Batman, wasn't it? Yeah, 89, I think. Ghostbusters 2.
I don't know. My brain's mush. This is ugly mugs. This isn't you know, I haven't had a whole day of
I need
depth.
another tea or coffee going here to
Yeah.
continue all this. But what a great question. Well, actually, can I throw this back out to you? What's your favorite if you had to choose? And in fact, if you can think of other possibilities for options to choose, please help us out.
Well, that's kind of the problem because I am a 90s kid. And I know you guys do a lot of 80s references. And I enjoy comedies, especially when I'm in an enhanced state of mind for comedies. Right. So I was actually just fishing for something to watch.
Yes.
And I think I've hit most of the big 80s ones.
Can we pivot quickly and just talk about favorite comedies, blanket, no time period, no sequels? Just what's your favorite comedy, Joe?
That's movie very hard.
Not series, movie.
I know where I stand on that.
But I'm gonna have to say, in terms of gut-busting laughter, almost falling out of the chair in the movie theater, there's 2 scenes in each Deadpool movie. The highway scene in the first one, and the skydiving scene in the second one. Both times I'm about falling out of the chair. Even on repeat watch. I've seen them both twice. Each time. I mean, maybe a year between viewings. Each time I'm...
Yeah, thank God for our patron saint, Ryan Reynolds, our Canadian patron saint. That guy is amazingly funny.
He is crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's so good in that character. It's nuts. Nutty.
He's been funny since Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. Like, I remember
Van Wilder
saw that show. Yeah, Van Wilder.
Van Wilder, Waiting. You ever see him in Waiting?
Yeah, that's good. Was he in Waiting?
Oh yes, of course.
Are you sure?
Yeah, very sure. Yeah, Justin Long. Yeah.
Dane Cook.
Yeah, Dane. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is in that, eh?
Yeah, he's the second lead, I guess. Second male lead. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, Waiting.
So what's your favorite comedy of all time, Jack?
Well, okay, so I can't just say a specific film, but I will just quite simply say the Marx Brothers.
That's just your favorite?
Yeah. Okay. It says running out of time. This meeting will end in 10 minutes. So just so you know, we only have 10 minutes left on this Zoom meeting before it's gonna run out.
Oh, that's weird, eh?
Yeah. Well, we have to pay for the upgrade if we want to do longer ones.
Okay.
So we got 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna say the Marx Brothers. I know they're old school, whatever, but I mean these cats from way back, the 30s, 40s material. I don't know, man. I saw that when I was really young. I can't get out of my brain. It's just like Simpsons on speed. The jokes are like super, super fast. The physical comedy is off the chart, and I love the play on words. And I just love it. This
is if we had our grandfather on the call and we're like,
hey,
I am
Grandpa. Old school. I can't help it. I love the Marx Brothers. I can't help it.
What's your favorite comedy? Vaudeville was my favorite comedy.
Shut up. I think it's so funny how Joe's like mentioning scenes out of Deadpool, and then I'm going back all the way back to almost the beginning to the Marx Brothers. I don't know. If I had to pick something else, I don't know. I laugh uproariously at very specific Jim Carrey moments as well. I really do.
Me too. I love Jim Carrey so much. Liar Liar in the theater was one of the funniest movie theater experiences I've had.
In Liar Liar, there's a moment there where he says he's dealing with his ex-wife and she says to him something like Jim or Fletcher, and then he responds back and goes, Audrey. So I love that so much. I use Audrey all the time. I just say
so
like if my son does something, I go, Audrey. Like,
it's funny how some of this stuff just ends up becoming part of your lexicon.
Oh yeah, like come on.
And then you use it for so long that you forget where you get it from. Like there's something that I do specifically, and I say "fuck off, Ray," and I say that all the time.
What's that from?
That's very specifically from Oliver Stone's The Doors. One of Jim Morrison's buddies are telling Ray Manzarek to F off. And I don't know why, but I use that all the time. Like if I'm having a hard time opening something at work or doing something and I'm mad at the thing, I always say F off, Ray.
So you found comedy in Oliver Stone's The Doors. Is
Yeah,
that what you're saying?
but but with my, like I said earlier that Groundhog Day is one of my favorite movies ever,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it really is. But if
It
I had
really
to
is.
pick one of my favorite comedies, just specifically as a comedy,
Yeah.
I haven't watched a movie as many times and enjoyed a movie as many times as I have of Half Baked with Dave Chappelle. I absolutely love Half Baked. That is
yeah.
an absolute banger of a hilarious movie. It's so funny. All the cameos that are in it.
Yeah.
Like, just, I absolutely love it.
Speaking of lexicon entries, water, lots of water.
Lots of water. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many funny things in that movie. I remember where I was the first time I watched it, and then like we watched that movie like once a week for like a year. Me and my buddies, we just couldn't get enough of it. It was too funny. But yeah, Dave Chappelle. What can you say?
What can you say? Yeah. Well, hey, come on. Yeah, the 80s sequel question. That's a question that's going to sit with me for the rest of my life. It's just going to be like such a hard question to answer. Oh, geez. What a great one.
You know what? I will accept Ghostbusters 2.
You will accept Ghostbusters 2
or better answer.
Or Back to the Future Part 2.
With an asterisk.
Yeah, with an asterisk for that one, I think.
With an asterisk. Well, I mean, with a qualifier saying like, can't think of, like, I mean, Caddyshack 2, Meatballs, all these things that had sequels, Yeah.
Yeah, there's not that many good ones. To be honest, it's a very tricky question.
There really aren't. Like that's the thing. To pull off a comedy sequel. I mean,
Airplane 2 is probably really funny. If I could remember.
I can't remember if it was or not. I don't know.
Second Naked Gun, I think, came out in like 91, so it's disqualified. It's a tricky time period there too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm gonna stand by I Back to the Future 2 and Ghostbusters 2. Those are probably two very good answers.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I think unless you have anything else you want to ask us,
we're approaching the end of the Ugly.
Oh no, you're about to get kicked off.
Yeah, we are. We only got 5 minutes left.
5 minutes
left.
Let's
try to jam
in
as many words as we can in the next 5 minutes.
We're gonna go right to the end.
It's okay too, because my family's awake and walking around me now. I just had to help my little one get a cheese string out of a packaging. Both kids are going to be sitting at the table now. My wife's making a coffee, so I think that's the end of the show. I think that's officially the end of the show.
Okay. Well,
when the family starts coming out of the woodworks, that's like the proverbial hook pulling you off stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Joe. It was awesome to talk to you. We're going to be talking to you probably soon.
It's the family spren. The family spren, or
yeah, they are family spren. Yeah. You know what they are? They're exhaustion spren, to be honest.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, so yeah, it's good to talk to you. We had like I said, we had a really great week this week, and we really appreciate everyone listening. Thanks to all the patrons for being with us through all this and for inspiring us to continue doing the work that we're doing. Thanks again, Joe, for signing on.
Thanks
if
for
anybody you're welcome. If anybody else next week wants to sign on and you see that the link is up, just come on and join us. It's I actually really am starting to enjoy this kind of facet of Ugly Mugs, having people on, and
it's very cool.
It's very fun. So anyways, everyone take care, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.